Welcome to the stage, Angela Rye.
Hi, everybody. What's up, University of Miami? How many first-time voters do we have in the house? Woo, it's a lot of you all. How many just registered today? That's a good amount. It's a good amount. We'll take it. How many of you all are going to go out and register voters when you leave here? That's good. I need a few more of you all to cheer. We got to do better than that. If you haven't, please make sure you text "We All Vote" to 97779 right now. How many of you all are excited to be here? For those of you who do not know, my name is Angela Rye, and I'm elated. You know, okay, all right. All five of y'all in the front. But I'm elated to stand before you as an ambassador for When We All Vote. And I am so happy to be welcoming you to our closing event for the Week of Action. Please give everyone a round of applause. There were 2,000 events all over the country. Yes, in 49 states. Today we have an amazing program for you all. You will hear from volunteers, first-time voters. You'll hear from people like Erica Campbell, Kelly Rowland, Keegan Michael Key, Faith Hill. Oh, I'm just kidding. I was just making sure you were paying attention. And our forever First Lady, Michelle Obama. Yes. So I stand here before you all today as a pro-choice Black woman. And I'm not saying I'm pro-choice because of the Supreme Court nomination in the Senate, nor am I saying I'm pro-choice to divide the pro-choice from the pro-life among us, because I'm using it in another context, especially because When We All Vote is nonpartisan. So in this context, I am both pro-choice and pro-life, because I have the right to choose how to live my best life. Shout out Little Duval. I have the right to choose how to live my best life with my vote. I want to take my destiny into my own hands, so I choose to vote. I am choosing to be involved, and it starts with our votes. We, as voters, get to choose how we address everything from economic justice, racial justice, women's rights, pay equity, health care, tax reform, gun reform, protections for seniors, veterans' rights, housing, transportation, student loans, judges, access to education, environmental protections like clean water. We as voters get to choose. We choose. See, voting impacts our ability to survive and thrive in this country. When we all vote, we reclaim our power. When we all vote, change happens. When we all vote, we can change the world, as our co-chair, Michelle Obama, says. This election and every election, change is on the ballot. Your ability to pursue the American dream is on the ballot. The kind of country we'll become is on the ballot. Hope is on the ballot. Opportunity is on the ballot. Don't let anyone tell you your vote doesn't matter, that your voice doesn't matter. That is your power. I encourage you to use it, because when we all vote, we are unstoppable. Thank you, Miami.
Please welcome Christina Duren.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christina, and I'm here to tell you about the meetup group I created and lead, the Beautiful Brown Girls Brunch Club. Beautiful Brown Girls is a network of meetups with over 27,000 women of color. Our mission is to create a world that's run on love, acceptance, and inspiration. In cities ranging from Chicago to Charlotte, and even in Tokyo, women get together once a month to connect, build friendships, and share a laugh over a meal. I started Beautiful Brown Girls on Meetup so that I could find my people when I moved back to Miami. Over the last 8 years, Beautiful Brown Girls has blossomed into so much more than a brunch club. We are a community of 23 chapters, and each one is a sister circle. I believe that in order to build a strong nation, that's what we need: sister circles and strong communities. As an organizer, I know that there is strength in numbers. When I heard about the When We All Vote Week of Action, I knew that the Beautiful Brown Girls could make an impact. I'm proud to share that this September, 20 of our chapters hosted events for the Week of Action. We got our members registered to vote and talked about the importance of helping our friends and family to make a plan to vote on November 6th. We're using the power of groups to make sure more voices will be heard at the polls. I'm not a political person, but I'm heartfelt about change in my community. And I'm here to say that this election is on all of us. I wanted to join When We All Vote because I vote to honor my grandfather, who can remember a time when he could not vote, and my grandmother, a daughter of Bahamian immigrants, who even when she could no longer walk, still made sure she mailed in her ballot in every election. Beautiful Brown Girls is proof of what can happen when you find your people. Not only can you bond over a delicious meal, but you can also become an agent of change in your community. You may not have a massive brunch club, but you alone have the power to influence those around you. Midterms are right around the corner. Don't waste your power staying at home. Head to the polls, vote, and add your voice into the chorus of change. Thank you.
Please welcome Erica Campbell and Kelly Rowland.
How y'all doing? What's up, Miami? Thank y'all so much. Thank you to everybody for coming out today. It is an important day and an important week. And I am honored to be standing here next to this beautiful woman who is a legend. I'm standing here with you. Come on, Grammy Award winning, talented, beautiful, and she cares. She cares about you, and that's why we're here today. To talk about something really important.
Yeah, but this one is a legend in her right as well. Can we please raise some noise from this woman?
Okay. So,
First of all, how many of y'all are ready to vote? How many of y'all know that now is the most critical time to use your voice?
and only 60% of us used our voice in the last election. When we don't vote, they don't hear how we feel. They don't know what we want. We are not represented, so we've got to use our voices. How many of y'all gonna vote? Yeah.
So, to make it plain and simple, when we don't vote, no one's gonna hear us. As clear as the sound is right now, we can hear a pin drop right now, and I really respect you guys listening, but I need you to go out and tell people how important it is that their voice must be heard. Yes. If we don't say anything, nothing will happen.
She's right, and I'm with her 100%. We're honored here to be here today with all you beautiful people, and we are the people that's going to make a difference. Every one of you. We are world changers. We are change makers. We make a difference because we have passion in our hearts, and we let it out in the ballot box, right?
Now, where your phones at? Put your phones in the air.
They all got phones.
Everybody on the side, where your phones? Where your phones? I need you on this side, where your phones? I need you to pick up your phone and open up your text app. Start a new message to the number 97779 and type out the phrase, "We all vote." One word. Now hit send. All right?
Congrats to everyone who is newly registered. How many new registered voters do we have? Yes, let's celebrate them. Come on, let's make some noise for these new voters. And when you tell a friend, and when you tell a friend, and you ask someone else, and you challenge others to register to vote, that's how we get our voices heard. I love all you guys holding your phones and holding these signs, and the fact that you're here is so, so beautiful.
Guys, this is not a test. Go vote. Okay? Now, I want you to give a warm, loud applause and join me by welcoming Carla Hernandez Matz.
Buenas tardes, Miami! We've got some important out-of-towners here today. How about a round of applause for Erica and Kelly Rowland, who opened for me today? That's pretty cool. As they mentioned, my name is Carla Hernandez Matz. I'm president of the United Teachers of Dade, the largest local union of educators. In the state, yes. I'm also a Miami-Dade Public Schools teacher, graduate of FIU and St. Thomas University. I am Miami born, Miami bred, and Miami proud. And I have my parents to thank for that. You see, before I was born, my parents, Margarita and Jose Carlos Hernandez, sacrificed for me. They left Honduras and came to America. They uprooted their lives and took a leap of faith, trusting that the leap would prove a better life. My abuelita, Elia Gonzalez, who is over here somewhere, will celebrate her 98th birthday tomorrow. She also sacrificed a lot for the dream. She knew that not having an education as a child or adequate rights was unacceptable. You see, 98 years ago in 1920 is when the United States of America gave women like her the right to vote through the passage of the 19th Amendment. She has cherished that right and has taught me about the power of education and the power of our vote. Women before her lifetime did not have that right. For a long time, I didn't realize just how much they had sacrificed for me. And for even a much longer time, I didn't know how I could ever thank them. I didn't know what I could do to repay the debt of love and sacrifice that they had shown me. But I know now. My parents and abuelita risked and worried and struggled to give me a voice. They came to this country so that their children could have the opportunities that they did not. They came to this country so that I could speak up for what was right. They came to this country so that I could vote. When I was in civics class, I was taught that we vote because of the founding fathers, because they gave us that right. That's what I taught my students at Hialeah Middle School too. But over the past couple of years, I've realized that's not why I vote. I don't vote because of the founding fathers. I vote because of my grandmother. I vote because of my father. I vote because of my mother and everyone else that has sacrificed to give me a voice. I vote for my children. I vote for my students because I need to show them that their voice matters too. And I say these things with equal pride. I am a daughter. I am a mother. I am an educator. I am Latina. I am American. And I am a voter. Are there any voters out here tonight? I couldn't hear you quite right. Are there any voters out here tonight? Okay, just trying to make sure. If you haven't done so already, I want you to text "We All Vote," all one word, to 97779. That's 97779. Yes, you guys are great students. Oh my goodness. I expect to see you all at the polls in November. Show up, honor us by using your voice to shape the future. Support public school teachers. Muchas gracias.
And now, please welcome Keegan Michael Key.
You good? Hello, Miami. Thank you. This is the crowd right here, folks. This is the crowd right here. I've been running around America the last week talking to everybody about this, and this is the crowd. I'm not gonna lie. You believe me, right? You know I'm not saying this to every city. You know I'm not saying this to every city. We're talking about Miami, right? Period. Thank you so much for having me here, everybody. Listen, this is an important day. This is a very, very important week. Before I say anything else, I want to thank Kyle Learman, and I want to thank Punya Krishnappa and all of the When We All Vote team, but especially Michelle Obama for creating When We All Vote. Folks, now many of you here may know me from my Comedy Central show, Key and Peele. Do you know that? Okay, just checking. In it, yep. Okay, all right. Okay, I get it. There are some AA runs here and some Jake Quellens and all that good stuff. But let's talk about what's going on at hand here. Now, if you know Key and Peele, you know that one of our most popular sketches, I played a character named Luther, otherwise known as Obama's anger translator. And he was the guy that said all those things that a very measured and thoughtful person was thinking, but he chose not to say out loud. So Luther said them, right? Now, we are at a very, very interesting time in our country right now, where I'm sure many of you have been experiencing, mild frustration? Is it mere anger? Is it outrage? Okay. But some of you have held your tongue. Some of you have chosen to be diplomatic instead of sharing the thing you were thinking. And to those three people out here, I applaud you. But to all of the rest of you out here who need a Luther, I apologize personally for not being there for you, okay? I mean, sometimes I turn on the news and I think I am Luther and I need a Luther. But I'm here today to tell you guys, there's a better way. Don't just use your words. Register and vote. Don't just talk about it. Take action. What we're doing here today is we're helping people turn that anger or that issue or that fight into action. And it's a pretty simple thing to do. You got to register and you got to vote. What do you got to do? Register and vote. This side, what do you do? First you do what? And then this side, what do? All right. Because when we all vote, we translate our outrage and our passion into change. Now, let me say this right quick, though. I was in Detroit, Michigan yesterday, and I was sitting having lunch, and the gentleman next to me, I overheard him say to a lady at the bar, he said, what did he say? You want to know what he said? He said, if you don't vote, you don't get to bitch. If you don't vote, you don't get to complain. If you want to complain or you have an issue with something, I hope you voted. If you want to complain, vote. If you did not complain or you did not vote, I don't want to hear from you. You make your future, ladies and gentlemen. When we go to the ballot box, we are making our own choices for our communities and for our families and for our relatives and for our future. That's what we're here today to talk about, and that's what we're here today, is to give ourselves agency, to give ourselves the power that we deserve. This is America. That's what we do here. It's our birthright. It is our privilege. It is a gift. When we use our democracy and our voice is being heard, things happen. From the lowest level to the highest level. I used to live in a neighborhood where there were two intersecting streets, a very large thoroughfare and a very small street. And that very small street often had accidents on it as people were trying to cross the thoroughfare. Many fatal accidents. So that community decided, we're going to put a petition together, we're going to sign it, we're going to put it on the ballot in our local elections, and we're going to vote. And those people voted, they put up a stoplight, the fatality stopped, and change happened. It can happen, it should happen, and it needs to happen on every single level of American life. We are the change we want to see. We are the progress that we want to be. Every single person in here, grasp your power. Grasp your right. Make a change in this world. Period. For those of you who have not done it already, please, right? The folks down front here, these guys are very knowledgeable. It is a simple thing, folks. We're going to register and vote. All you have to do is take out your phone. And all you have to do is text, "We all vote," to 97779. We will give you the information that you need to register your brother and your sister and your tia and your abuela and your dad and your teachers and your mailman and your neighbors and the community you grew up with, the community you live in now, and the communities that you're going to build because you vote. We all can do it, folks. It's us. It's us. Let's try to do this again. Let's try to be a nation of the people, by the people, and for the people. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Performing now, the Miami Northwestern High School Marching Band. Joining us on stage, Jasmine Burney Clark.
Hello, Miami! It brings me great joy to stand here today as a native Floridian and a resident of the city beautiful Orlando. My name is Jasmine Burney Clark, and I'm a proud registered voter and executive director of the Florida C3 Civic Engagement Table. Our goal is to amplify the nonpartisan political voices and strengthen the partner organizations within our state. We focus on integrated voter engagement and the empowerment of women of color, people of color, and young voters. As the coordinator of one of the largest voter registration efforts in the nation, I am proud to announce today that our partner organizations are on track to collect 350,000 voter registration forms. We can't do this alone, and we need your help. There are nearly 5 million people in the state of Florida who are eligible to vote but aren't currently registered. Registering your friends and family today and every day leading up to Florida's voter registration deadline of October 9th is critical. And registering to vote in Florida is so easy. I want to make sure you're prepared to do this, so here's how you can help. First, you can register to vote in Florida no later than October 9th, 2018, if you go into your local supervisor of elections office.
You can also register on the same day by midnight if you go to whenweallvote.org/register. Next, right here in Miami, there are organizations like the New Florida Majority, Engage Miami, Unidos US, Engage, the Community Voters Project, Florida Immigrant Coalition, and the NAACP. They are all currently accepting volunteers like you all to help register as many Floridians as possible by the October 9th deadline at community events, local supermarkets, parks, and college campuses. Finally, tell your friends and family to text "We All Vote" to 97799 to make sure that they are actually ready to vote by the deadline. Here are a few additional things to consider when registering Floridians. Make sure that you register every eligible voter that you know. Ask if your friends and family have the most recent residential address on file with their election officials, and find out if your family members have had any name changes or need to change their political party affiliation. Next, go to www.whenweallvote.com to download a toolkit on how to best organize your friends and family. And remember to have fun while you're doing this. This election cycle, we can't afford to take a single vote for granted. Registering to vote is a powerful way to control your future and your community. Floridians, we must get out the vote this election season and on November 6th, because voting is a serious matter. Thank you.
To introduce Mrs. Michelle Obama, please welcome Gabriela Ruiz.
Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Gabriela Ruiz. I'm 18 years old, and in November, I get to vote for the first time ever. I am the daughter of an immigrant who came to this country with nothing but the clothes on her back. Today, my mom wears the robes of a judge. Yeah. My mom taught me that nothing in life comes easy. That each day and each election, we must use our voices to make this country a fair place for us all. That is why I work with the Florida Immigrant Coalition. Yeah. And that is why I register people to vote every single day. I see how challenging it can be for people to know their rights, to know that they have the right to vote in the first place. But tackling this challenge only makes me more excited to vote in November. Yeah. I know that as a young woman, as the daughter of an immigrant, that I will feel even more amazing casting my ballot this November. That I will feel like I am taking a part of something greater than just myself, because I won't be voting just for me. I will vote for my best friend's mother, who has lived in this country for 20 years and who works as a maid in order to support her family, despite her constant fear of deportation. I will vote for my friend who asked all of us for rides after school because as an undocumented immigrant, he was unable to obtain a driver's license. I will vote for all the disenfranchised people that I've met. People like Patricia, a 40-year-old woman who has never voted because she didn't know how. I'm happy to say that Patricia is now registered to vote and will be voting in this election. So I stand before you, 18 years old, about to vote for the first time ever. But it won't be my last. Here in front of all of you, I commit that I will vote for the rest of my life in every single election. And when the day comes that I no longer have to vote for those issues, I will still keep on voting. Because I am an American citizen, and that is my civic duty. But more importantly, because I want my voice to be heard. Ooh, I'm sorry. And now, it is my honor to introduce someone who has always used her voice to lift others up, who reminds us of the power of our voice every day, and someone who I personally admire. Ladies and gentlemen, the former First Lady of the United States of America, Michelle Obama!
Well, hello, Miami. Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm happy to be here. Are you all happy to be here? Well, let me start by thanking Gabby. Didn't she do a great job for that wonderful introduction? And I hope there are more Gabbys out there who are going to be voting for their first time, yes? I love to hear that. And we also have to thank the Miami Northwestern High School Marching Band. I was getting my little groove on back there too. And I want to thank everyone from the University of Miami for hosting us here this afternoon. I also want to recognize all of the artists and athletes who are here with us today. Keegan Michael Key, that man has been working hard this week. My good friend Kelly Rowland and Erica Campbell. Angela Rye. We got Fat Joe in the house. Piper Parabo, as well as Titus O'Neill. Thank you all so much. I want to thank all of them for joining us here, as well as everyone else who's helping us out throughout the country on this effort. And most of all, I want to thank all of you for joining us today. Now, as you all know, it's just a little over 5 weeks until Election Day. And we're rounding out what has been a wonderful week of action for when we all vote. And I couldn't be more thrilled about everything that's been happening across this country this week. We've had more than 2,000 grassroots events in everywhere from Honolulu to Boise to right here in Miami. So we've been everywhere. The rideshare company Lyft has helped to register thousands of riders and drivers, so they've been amazing. In my home state of Illinois, volunteers, we've got Illinois in the house. All right. We've had volunteers from Bradley University who held a registration event for naturalization at a naturalization ceremony where they helped some of the country's newest citizens get ready to vote. We even heard about a 72-year-old Texan who registered for the very first time. Isn't that amazing? In 72 years, he has never voted, and he was so proud that he asked for 2 stickers. So those are the kind of stories that we're hearing across the country. And I'm so grateful to thousands of organizers, all of my co-chairs who've made this week such a success, everyone who has hosted a house party or stood outside on the corner in the rain, everyone who helped us get the message out that voting matters, not just in this election, but in every election. And as you guys know, I kicked off the week in Las Vegas, where I once again reminded folks that voting is a fundamental right. It is the only way in our democracy to have a say in the issues we care about. Essentially, it's our stake in our children's future. And I said that over the past decade, in election after election, I've been saying the same thing. Now, maybe some folks assumed I was only out there because my husband was on the ballot, so I had some skin in the game. But here's the thing. My husband is no longer on the ballot, and neither am I, and I'm still here. And I am not here to tell anyone who to vote for. I'm not stumping for any one candidate. To be completely honest, I am here because it feels like we are locked in a dangerous cycle when it comes to voting in this country. A cycle that goes something like this. We tune out of politics, frustrated that it doesn't reflect our values. Then election season comes along and millions of dollars are spent bombarding us with political ads, telling us why this particular race is so important and how this particular candidate has all the answers we've been looking for. Then a bunch of athletes and celebrities and famous people like me travel all across the country, telling everyone how crucial it is to get registered and to vote. And after all that effort, money, time, and energy, for a whole host of reasons, some say they're too busy, some too cynical, some too disconnected, whatever the reason, only a fraction of the population actually bothers to vote. Then time passes, and sooner or later, we're right back where we started, with folks tuned out, frustrated that our politics don't reflect our values. And we repeat that cycle again and again and again. So is there any wonder why we're so frustrated and tuned out of our politics? When a huge chunk of the population sits out of the process, why are we surprised when our politics don't reflect our values? In the 2008 election, Americans cast more votes than ever before. But even when we set a new record for voting, more than 80 million people still didn't vote. That's 80 million people. Those are real numbers. In midterm elections like the one coming up in November, the numbers are even worse. Only about 40% of people vote. In fact, in the last midterm election in 2014, we saw the lowest percentage of Americans turn out since World War II. It was all the way down to below 37%. So let's think about what those numbers mean in practice. If a candidate gets elected with less than a 37% turnout rate, and we assume their opponents get some of those votes, then that means the percentage of people who actually voted for that candidate is even smaller. So if you're an elected official who wins on those margins, who are you looking out for once you're in office? Who are you listening to when it comes time to make hard decisions? If a storm hits and the lights go out, which neighborhood are you going to make sure gets its power back on first? Now, we could take our chances and hope that every elected official will look out for everyone the same, whether they voted or not. But as a citizen, wouldn't you want to be absolutely positive that the folks elected to make those decisions about our daily lives, decisions that range from whether or not the trash is picked up on time, to when we send our troops to war, to how victims of sexual assault are treated, wouldn't you want to be sure that those elected officials were thinking about all of us, not just some small percentage of us, when they're making those decisions? Well, here's the truth. Voting is the only way to ensure that your concerns matter, period. And I know we all care about this stuff, right? Y'all wouldn't be here. We all care about what's happening on so many issues, right? And I also know that it can feel too overwhelming at times. People are struggling just to get through each day in one piece. They feel like they don't have time to keep up with all the issues and the candidates' points of view. And it's hard to see how what happens in the State House or the halls of Congress is really relevant to what's going on in our daily lives. So I can see how folks think their votes don't make a difference. I know folks are frustrated that there isn't more progress on the things that affect our daily lives. Or worse yet, I know some folks think the whole system is rigged, so why bother at all? So Miami, I get it. You know, I get being busy, and I definitely get feeling frustrated. As I said at the beginning of this week, I am frustrated too. I am tired of the daily chaos, the pettiness, the meanness that too often dominates the political discourse. We all are. It is exhausting, and honestly, it is depressing. But here's what keeps me invested. Just when I feel like it might be time to shut it all out, I think about my dad. For anyone who's known anything about me, you know that my father had MS, a disease that would ultimately take his life. And despite his illness, my dad was a hard-working man. For most of his life, he worked at the city's water filtration plant in Chicago, checking gauges and monitoring the pumps. And every morning he put on that uniform, his blue work shirt and pants, a pair of dark shoes. Then my dad would grab his crutches and he would carefully make his way down a flight of stairs to head off to work. And my father was proud of the fact that in more than 2 decades on the job, he didn't miss a single day of work. Yeah, that's my dad. And many men out there like him. And whenever election season rolled around, I saw him do the same thing. Every election day, he grabbed those crutches and inched down that same flight of stairs to vote. When he could, he'd take me with him. And I remember walking slowly with him down to that church basement. That was where our polling place was in our neighborhood. And he'd steady himself for a few minutes as he waited in a line, no matter how long it was. And he'd smile and chat up all the folks, checking them in because everybody knew him. And then he'd take me into that big voting booth and the curtain would close. See, that was back in the day, young people, when there was a real booth and a curtain. And then he'd pull down on these mysterious levers that we used to have back in the day. I didn't really know what any of it meant back then, but I knew it was important. Because no matter what was going on, whether it was raining, whether he was in pain, my father made his way to the polls. And I don't share this story because my father was perfect. I share it because he wasn't, and he knew it. My father wasn't a wealthy man. He knew the rules were not stacked in his favor. He knew he didn't work in an industry where high-priced lobbyists would grease the wheels in Washington on his behalf. He knew he didn't earn the kind of money or have the kind of clout to assume everything would work out for our family. So for him, he went to vote for the same reason he went to work. He did it to provide for his family. He knew that his vote was the only way he could be heard in the halls of power. He knew his vote could impact the amount of money in his paycheck. He knew that his vote could affect how safe the streets were when his kids were walking home from school. It could determine whether he could help send his kids to college. That's why he showed up. And he showed up when he was happy with what was going on in City Hall or in the state capitol, and he showed up when he wasn't. He showed up to vote in every election because he showed up for his family in every way that he could. See, my dad was a voter not because he was rich or had some fancy degree or had some special skill or expertise. He was a voter because he was a father. It was part of who he was. And that's really what this is all about. Getting every citizen to make voting a part of who they are. It's about helping everyone recognize something that feels important to them, even if it's only one thing. And it can be anything. I know that every parent here has opinions about their kids' schools and whether there's enough resources to ensure their child is getting the best education possible. I know that. I know everyone commuting to work has opinions on the traffic and the bus routes. I know every parent wants their kids to be safe, whether they're at school or at a concert with friends, and Lord knows, we all have opinions on issues like health care and the economy and how much we're paying in taxes. What we need to do is bridge the gap between caring about that kind of stuff and actually doing something about it. That's our job. Because if you care about something but you don't make your voice heard, trust me, as I said last week, this democracy will move on without you. That's how it works. That's how it should work. While you're staying silent, frustrated, mad, thinking the system is rigged, other people are speaking up. And you might not like what they have to say. They might not see things the way you do. They might not understand the kinds of challenges your family is dealing with. They might not have any problem leaving you and your family behind. So when you don't vote, what you're really doing is letting somebody else take power over your own life. And as I said last week, you wouldn't give your grandmother the power to decide what clothes you wear to the club. You wouldn't give your crazy uncle the power to post a picture to your Instagram feed. So why would you give a stranger the power to make far more important decisions in your life? Period. So, we got to get folks thinking about taking some of their power back. We got to get folks thinking about what's important to them. And even if they've never voted before, or even if they've only voted once in a while, we need to get them fired up about voting as soon as possible. And that starts right now with this election on November the 6th. And what's important for you all to know is that you all will be better at getting this done than I ever will be. And I mean that seriously. Because we've seen studies that show that the most effective way to reach somebody who doesn't vote is by talking to them face to face. Folks who don't vote don't really want to hear from just athletes and celebrities and famous people on TV. They'll just tune us out. But they'll listen to their friends, they'll listen to their family members, they'll listen to their neighbors, they'll listen to somebody who they believe understands them, somebody they trust. And that's where all of you all come in. And this is what I need you to do. I need you to reach out to every person you know who you think might not be planning to vote in November, Could be a brother, a sister, your friend, somebody on your soccer team, your neighbor, somebody you walking the dog with, anybody, whoever they are. I need you to ask them what they care about. Engage them. I need you to help them figure out how to cast their ballot. And as you know, if they're not registered, you all know this by heart, how can they get started? What do they text? We all vote to 97779. Miami is good. You guys are good on that. They've got to do it by the deadline in their state, and here in Florida, that's October the 9th. And then after they're registered, I want you to help them get ready to vote. Tell them about how they can go to an early voting location. There's so many ways to do this. They can vote by mail from the kitchen table. That's how I vote every year. Or they can vote in person right in their neighborhood on the 6th. So, do you guys think you can do that for me? Because you wouldn't be here if you weren't ready to do that, right? And here's the thing, Miami, as you all are getting out there, just remember this last thing. Do not underestimate the power of bringing more people into the process. Elections can be decided by just a few votes per precinct. Sometimes they're decided by just a handful of votes altogether. In Florida, you all know something about this. I'm not just talking about presidential elections. Back in 2016, a city commissioner's race in Cocoa Beach was decided by 8 total votes. The whole thing, 8 people. That's like your house. The race for mayor in South Daytona was decided by 5 votes, y'all, 5. And I want you all to hold on to that, because that's true. When I was campaigning for Barack, there would be 50 votes per precinct, 100 votes per precinct. So every vote matters. It really does. Nobody can say that their vote doesn't matter if they're saying that they just don't understand the numbers. So you never know. In a few weeks, you and your brother might decide who the mayor is. You and the group of your friends texting emojis. You might elect who represents you in Washington. You all have that power. And we got to start dreaming. Because who knows what would happen if we did that? Who knows what the world might look like when we all vote? Not just this November, but in every election, every time, all the time. When we all vote, imagine the kind of schools we can demand for our kids. Imagine the things we can demand for our communities: safer streets, cleaner water, better after-school programs, all the things we've been hoping for. When we all vote, imagine the kind of leaders we'll elect. Those who share our values and who understand our lives and who set a good example for our kids. Imagine the level of respect and dignity we can ensure for all of our citizens, no matter what we look like or who we worship or whether we happen to be a woman. It is all within our grasp, but we got to do the work. It ain't easy. We got to do the work. So I want you all to take this energy that you're feeling right here and run with it. I want you to go out there for the next 5.5 weeks and make sure that everyone you know is voting on behalf of something they believe in. Make sure everyone is as fired up as you all are right now. And then I want you to go out there after November, because this is not about one election. That's the only reason I'm doing this, because this is not about one election. We cannot stop now. We need to keep talking about voting until every single person in your life makes being a voter part of who they are. We got to make voting trendy. We got to hashtag it. We got to sing about it. And for all the young people in the room, this is your future. It's time for us to move out of the way and let you lead. But if you don't take that power and you don't understand what that power means, then we'll be back in that cycle. And we don't want that for any of our young people. We want you to have the futures that are worthy of your dreams. This is no longer about me. It's not about Barack. It's about you. This is the country that you will grow into. It will be the country that you raise your children in. So you have to decide what it looks like. How do we treat each other? What do we value? What do we care about? That's for your generation to decide. So I want you all to get on it, make it happen, and don't stop until this is a forever proposition. Thank you, guys. God bless.